moving up 7.2 to right after consent agenda.
Oh, okay.
It's a quick step.
Okay. We'll see.
What was that? I don't know. I was not notified if she was not or not.
She just told me that. You said
She's not. Okay.
Did she notify anyone?
She mentioned it to Sharon because she had an email from me.
yeah, she didn't email before the email. I mean, before the meeting.
Oh,
Ariana, you good?
but she told you last time?
After the meeting last time, just verbally. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so then that should be excused, I guess, yeah.
All right. If everybody's ready. Ladies? Good? All right. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the May 4th regular meeting of the Planning Commission. I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Ariana, report on posting the agenda and roll call, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, April 27, 2023 at 5:45 p.m. Roll call. Commissioner Ellie.
Present.
Commissioner Leongard. Absent. Commissioner Lewis.
Here.
Commissioner Montes.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Vice Chair Kushner.
Here.
Chair Bondal.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to public comment. Are there any public comments today?
There are no speakers.
All right. Moving along to the consent agenda. April 6th, regular Planning Commission meeting hearing minutes, and the April 20th special meeting. Commissioners, any questions, comments, concerns? Discussion?
I move to be approved as written.
I will second.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Ellie.
Yes.
Commissioner Leongard. Absent. Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Commissioner Montes.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Yes.
Vice Chair Kushner.
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. It passes unanimously, 6-0. All right. So for those following along, we are going to actually move up a item from new business, 7.2, before we go to public hearings. So staff, you are up.
My name is Savannah Minutes. I'm a public works engineer, and I'm here to present a grant that we're applying for.
Excuse me. Is the microphone on for you?
Is this better? No?
Oh, but yes. Thank
Yes.
you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
We are applying for a TDA Article 3 grant, which provides annual funding for bicycle and pedestrian projects. It requires review by the Bicycle Advisory Committee and City Council. The grant that we're applying for is in the amount of $220,000. funds for this grant will go towards the fiscal year 24 citywide curb ramp project. The citywide curb ramp project will cost approximately $240,000 and will upgrade 22 curb ramps to meet ADA requirements. And we are asking your recommendation to City Council so they can adopt a resolution to approve the grant fund request from the Metropolitan Transportation Commission for fiscal year 2024. Does anybody have any questions?
Out of curiosity, I've noticed that there has been some upgrades throughout the city in the past year. Is this part of the project? Is this part of the work that's already been done, and this is an extension of that?
So every year we have a paving project that requires the upgrade of curb ramps, and we try to use a variety of grants to fund that project. We have the citywide curb ramp project and the CDBG project as well, and we try to use the funds combined to upgrade the ramps required during the fiscal year 24 paving project.
Thank you.
So this will go towards that.
I'm just curious, were any other projects considered, and this was the one that was decided, or is this pretty much the only one that was considered?
This was considered due to the requirements of the fiscal year 24, so we wanted to use more of the paving money for paving and use this grant towards the curb ramp project.
I do have one comment. I'm sorry, it's the English teacher in me. But on page 1621, number 14, the wording just needs to be edited a little bit.
Okay.
Whoops, it might be 1622. Description of overall project, it just reads, this project will perform curb ramp upgrades at various locations throughout to the city to meet ADA accessibility standards. I think it doesn't read right.
Okay.
Just a minor edit.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Commissioners, any other questions? All right, I'm going to...
Oh, no, one more question.
Yes.
So my question was what these ramps will look like. Are they as the image, as shown in the presentation?
Yes, this is actually a ramp that was upgraded here in the city of Gilroy, and this is for the fiscal year 23 curb ramp project.
All right, I'm going to open it up to public comment. Do we have any public comment to this?
There are no speakers.
All right, I am closing public comment. Commissioners, the floor is open for discussion or a motion.
I just want to say I think this is a great project. I live in a community where there's a lot of older folks, and they're very active. I see them walking all the time, and some of those ramps in my area have been upgraded. So thank you.
Just a comment. Do we know how many total ramps that are needed to be upgraded?
We approximate 65 ramps total.
So this takes care of about a third of it.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, how will you prioritize where those ramps, which ramps will be fixed out of the 65?
All 65 are required to be upgraded with, it's a Caltrans requirement, so anytime we do preventative maintenance on these roads, we have to upgrade the curb ramps along with that.
So they'll all be updated In fiscal '24?
Unless they're already compliant, yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
And one more question, sure. So it sounds like from what you said, when we're doing maintenance on the roads, that's when we will upgrade those ramps to shut them down just one time rather than several.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else? All right. Well, I'll make the motion that we recommend to City Council adopt a resolution to approve the Transportation Development Act, Article 3, grant funding request from the Metropolitan Transportation Commission for fiscal year 2024.
I'll second.
And I don't know if this requires a roll call vote or not. It's, should we? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ellie,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Montes,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kushner,
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. Thank you very much. That passes 6-0. Appreciate it. All right. Now moving on to public hearing. 6.1, Gilroy Square.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm Craig Tambernini with the City Planning Department. I'm the project planner working on this development project. So this development project is a 10-acre site that's located east of Highway 101 in our general industrial area, in the area that's known as Gilroy Crossings. The area is a planned unit, commercial industrial planned unit development that essentially encompasses all of these properties, the shopping center with the Target and Kohl's and Panera Bread and others, and then this site on the other side of Camino Arroyo that's vacant. The public improvements and street frontage improvements for the properties were completed back in 2002, 2005 when this development went in, and this development was a second phase of the project that had to come back for further review and entitlements. So the applicant's in for entitlement to develop this site. What they're proposing is to build out most of this property with new commercial development. It's proposing a drive-through restaurant, gas station with car wash, and 2 hotels with, I believe, 200 total rooms. And then the remainder of the property would be held in reserve for future industrial development. So before we can take action on merits of a project, we have to do CEQA environmental review and provide environmental clearance. This project had the PUD, original planned unit development, for the larger 70 or so acre site, had a project environmental review completed that had mitigation measures primarily for the shopping center development. For this site, it stated that we would need to do subsequent study when the project develops, and that makes sense since it's been over 20 years. We need to do updated studies anyway. So we've looked at the project, did an initial study, determined that we could pursue a mitigated negative declaration because the project is consistent with the general plan and zoning, but the project-related impacts need to be evaluated. So in this case, under current conditions, there are some potential protected bird species, burying owl, that might exist on the site. So there's a standard mitigation to protect against that, requiring nesting surveys before they begin work. There's a pretty standard requirement that when we do CEQA, we include the requirements for geological soils analysis, which is required at construction in any event, but we include those in the environmental document to confirm to the public that, yes, that's going to be looked at. The project will be built appropriately for the site. We are, of course, in earthquake country, so we need to carefully check soils and check their stability and make sure that the foundations will be suitable for the proposed site. Also, conditions or mitigations to assure stormwater protections are implemented. Again, that's usually a standard requirement of any project, but we include that as a mitigation as well, as sort of a belts and suspenders approach. The unique requirements for the site have to do with its greenhouse gas impact. So when development is proposed in the city. If it needs to go through CEQA, we need to do a CEQA greenhouse gas analysis for that project. And in this case, a project that complies with the general plan and doesn't use certain things would not need to purchase greenhouse gas credits. In this case, they want to use natural gas, and they have some impacts that exceed the criteria, exceed the threshold that would be allowed to be exempt from further review. So what they'll have to do is go to the marketplace in the state and buy carbon offset credits. It's a very established industry where other development agrees to reduce their carbon emissions so that projects that emit can purchase those to offset the emissions that they're going to create. So that's an obligation of the project. They'd have to purchase those credits before development, so they secure the reductions before they build and occupy. And then because this is a hotel use, they do need to do special attenuation for windows, make sure that the windows are completely closable and that they have mechanical systems for air and circulation, so that will be a requirement of this project, and that will be something incorporated into the design. With respect to public comments received, we did get 3 comments, one from the Gilroy Bicycle Coalition. They provided pretty standard comments that were received to them regarding assuring that projects include vehicle miles traveled mitigation, greenhouse gas reduction measures, do everything it can to mitigate. And so our response is that the MND adequately mitigates per the requirements of CEQA, and nothing more is needed, but the comments are included in the packet. Caltrans just wants to make sure that the project considers their impacts. It's along Highway 152, so they always reiterate that, hey, make sure that we see your studies and that you get any permits you need from us. So our traffic analysis has evaluated impacts on Highway 152 and 101 in the interchanges, and there are no additional changes needed based on the Caltrans comments. They're pretty general. And then the VTA had comments about a bus stop that's in front of the property, and the project will need to incorporate that into their project. So that's been addressed in the conditions of the project. So we are recommending that for this project, the environmental issues have been identified and addressed, and that before you take action, you would agree that that environmental document has adequately studied the environmental impacts of the site. And that is different from merits. This is just physical impacts on the environment. It doesn't mean that you support the project. It just means that you say, okay, we got the information we need to know whether or not this is going to have some unique physical impact. So that would be the first action we'd be recommending you take tonight, is certify that document, or recommend certification of that document. Then moving into the project, we have to look at general plan consistency, zoning consistency, and those kinds of things. So the actions you'll be taking would be first to adopt the plan unit development plan for this site. And that includes the uses and all the merits-related issues with that. Once you determine if that's acceptable, then you approve the architectural and site plan, which is the specific building details and building elements and construction and development of the site. So that's the next entitlement that they need to move forward. And then lastly, they want to do a map, so we'd have a map involved in the project too. So for the project overall, we have evaluated the project for consistency with the general plan, and the project does implement the underlying land use district designations as expected. In terms of general plan consistency, we've provided an attachment in the report that goes through all of the policies we identified as applicable, and we're able to conclude that the project's substantially consistent with the general plan. Now, of course, there's lots of different elements and policies. We have the land use element, the mobility element, economic prosperity. Those policies all have to be considered and sometimes weighed and balanced against one another. Sometimes we might give more weight to, say, economic prosperity than to circulation or some other policy. But on total, we feel that the project's consistent with the general plan and can move forward on that account as conditioned and as well as proposed. With respect to the zoning and planning unit development consistency, again, it complies with the base zoning standards that were established in the plan unit development. This project, as I mentioned, is going to provide the precise development plan. The design of the buildings are four-sided. They look at all sides of the building architecturally and provide, we feel, a higher quality of detail than might normally be proposed for administrative level projects. And the site landscaping it exceeds what our minimum requirements are, so we feel they're doing a good job in that area as well, providing for an upgraded appearance of the site that should complement and match what's across the street. Because it's in a PUD, we do ask for amenities. The previous project amenities were just higher design details and additional landscaping, and they did not have anything else, any other public benefit. What we've moved to is usually asking for something, and it's always pretty much consistently been provision of an art piece of the applicant's choice, subject to review by City Council and the Art Commission. So we're including a condition that they do an art installation on the property. Talking with the applicant, he thinks that the main entry might be a good spot for that, but that will be something that's studied prior to them getting a permit for construction and will have to be installed prior to occupancy. So generally, we don't have the details of that now. We just have it as a condition. And the other thing that they're doing, which we encouraged and is a benefit, is that they're going to link their site with internal connectivity with the vacant parcel to the east. And what that does is provide other circulation options so that traffic can travel through the sites and use it. It gives additional relief points to the development, which we felt was a good amenity. That's something that we negotiated with them, and they've agreed to do. So those essentially are the amenities for this PUD. With respect to the entitlements, again, we have the zoning ordinance amendment, which is adopting the PUD, the architectural and site review approving the development plan, and then a tentative map approving the 6 lots that are requested. With respect to public outreach, we provided notice in the newspaper to surrounding property owners within 500 feet and posted a sign on site for more than 10 days, and we had not received any written comments on the project. I did receive one phone call, and it was from someone who happens to do cat rescue, and they try to rescue cats on that property. So they just wanted to make sure that the owner was aware of that and know when they were going to do construction or do mowing, so that they were aware that the cats are there and they want to try to save them. So with that, the recommendation is to consider and recommend the City Council adopt the environmental document, adopt a resolution recommending Council adopt a PUD for this Phase 2 development, and then adopt the resolutions for the architectural and site review and tentative map approvals. So that concludes my overall presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. In addition, the applicant is here with his team, and our environmental consultant and traffic consultant is here as well, who can answer any technical questions you might have about the project.
Great. Thank you, Craig. Commissioners, any questions?
So thank you so much for taking the time yesterday to answer, spend time on the phone with me to answer my concerns with regards to traffic. So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this completely. I was driving, I wasn't able to, or I was in the car, wasn't able to take notes. They are going to extend the left-hand turn lane into the site from Camino Arroyo, and the right-hand turn lane onto Highway 152, but no other improvements will be made.
So in terms of physical improvements, yes, that's correct. And I misspoke a little bit. It's not extending this. Oh, you can't see it up there. It's behind you. It's going to be 2 double left turns into the site from Camino Arroyo will be installed. And then we are going to have them extend the right turn queue lane on this side of the site. That could have been a fee-related improvement, but because it does impact the site, we would ask them to provide that on their plans now, because we'll need additional right-of-way for that. So those are the 2 physical improvements that this project is subject to make.
Okay, and then I just have a couple of other questions. So they spoke about a creative project design, and then extra project amenities. The extra project amenities is the public art piece you referred to?
Yes.
And then what are what specific design details would be established through the Arc and Site review?
So it's basically what they've presented on their plans. They have all the details for that plan. Essentially, that's going to be the details. We would require that they build as per their plan. We didn't have them write up a list of, they did provide a summary of design requirements, but they're not, it didn't really, since the project has a proposal, it didn't really make sense to come up with a whole new set of design standards. We just take what they presented to us and determine if we feel that's good enough for the development.
The upgrades that you referred to that they did in Phase 1 that you asked of them, will those, I mean, I saw the different colors and the whole thing, right? Are they consistent with the upgrades that were required in Phase 1?
Yes, they are. We looked at the designs. We believe that the designs are in compatibility. We did not ask them to mimic their design styles because that's pretty kind of a bit eclectic too. It's on each building was reviewed there on a case-by-case basis. So there's not really a theme other than a nice quality building. And that's a subjective determination that we make. But we feel the color palettes are in line with what's on the other side of the site. Primarily, though, the frontage improvements is the one thing that we focused on, and they're going to provide a consistent frontage design on that side of the street. So that's the main point that we.
And are these the objective standards that?
No, for commercial, we don't have objective standards.
Okay.
It still can be discretionary.
Yeah.
They haven't taken that away yet.
Okay. Not yet. Just asking. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anybody else?
I had a question on, you mentioned that there's going to be the ability to connect with the property to the east.
Correct.
Where would that be on the?
Ideally, our traffic engineer is recommending that this driveway continue through. We've had conversations about either putting something here, but ideally in this location, it's something I expect will work out in final design details, but this is what we're thinking of right now. Perhaps the applicant has another idea, but that's our idea.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
And then we thank you also for talking to me on the phone. The change to have that connecting road moved over. Can you? We talked about it. You kind of showed me. Can you show?
The Luchessa Holloway connection?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's along the PG&E line, southwest of the site.
And that replaces, where was it going to be before?
So the general plan alignment was more or less along from Rossi, along this side of the site, but a couple of complications doing that because there's right-of-way, there's property condemnation that would need to occur or purchase. So it was much more challenging to do it there. We had our traffic consultant study this concept to see where a road could work. Putting it on the east side of the site seemed to be beneficial because there was supposed to be a connection through here, and that's been eliminated.
Right.
So it more or less puts it in between where those two roads would have been, and we have a road coming in here. Now, we still have work to do on the alignment, but that's the idea, is it'll run along there, come down to Luchessa, and then Luchessa would carry it back to Automobile Parkway or Monterey Road.
I think that's an excellent idea because we losing the Rossi connection, and then with Unify, then we didn't have that. We're not going to be able to close that, make that circle. So now we can, and I think that staff did an incredible job there. I had a question about the parking. It looks like for the hotels that if they're in full capacity, and let's hope that they are, there would not be enough parking for staff. Did I read that properly? There would be.
If you did read that, I've not. My understanding is they're basically parking for commercial 4 per 1,000. I believe that they will have parking for staff. I would have to go back and double check my staff report.
I would love to pull it up, but I'm having problems now with my PDF.
Was it?
It was in like a table, and it would be
It's in the
like.
table on
What
page
page?
8 of the staff report.
Page 8. I got it here.
And I don't know if that lines up with the PDF.
Well,
So the hotel,
That's right.
so 112 rooms.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Overall, just for the hotel, it might be underparked, but for the project as a whole, they have to have shared parking.
Oh, okay.
So it's 372 spaces required for the entire development, 392 proposed, and they are shared.
Okay.
So they cannot keep people from parking in other locations. It's shared
Fantastic.
parking. Yeah.
And then it was some.
They're overparked by 20.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we talked about that the art installation, I just feel like that there's a lot of landscape on this project. And it would be wonderful to have maybe a small pocket park there instead. It could still be an art installation. When I was growing up, we had when it was on concrete, so those were the days. Concrete animals, or I don't know what they were made out of, but they were kind of like animals and sculptures that you could play on, but they were very elegant looking and they were very eye-catching.
Oh, really? Oh, I should go look. They're like gorillas or something.
Yeah, see, something like that would be very nice rather than something functional and beautiful that would actually bring something to the community, especially if there are people who are traveling or people who are just want to maybe get some ice cream across the street and go over there and enjoy that. So is there any way we could have the applicant consider something like that instead of an art installation that's static?
So certainly, it's something that I think we need to discuss a little further with the applicant and preferably tonight to see where that might be able to occur so we can kind of hammer out some details in order to craft a condition that would capture that. Because one of the things is I'm assuming you'd be thinking more internal to the site versus up in the...
No, I don't think it would really matter as long as there was a gate, a fence or something that was protecting kids. But there's some parts of the landscaping that's like 26 feet wide. I mean, that's like a lot. I know it's in the middle of a parking lot, but I mean, you guys are so creative. I'm sure you could find, there's also on the other end at the point to the far, yes, maybe right over there.
Okay. So some
Just
kind
a
of
thought?
more functional art solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, that maybe some small climbable type art structures or something along those lines. Yeah, certainly you can if there's a consensus to ask for something like that, certainly it could be incorporated in. I would want to defer to the applicant to talk through what he thinks that he might be able to do in that regard, so that you have more information than I can provide you. But it can certainly be. You can make your conditions as you see fit.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Commissioners, any more questions? Joan? No? I have a couple questions. Hexagon Transportation Consultants had a few recommendations in regards to driveway widening for emergency service vehicles and the flow of the emergency service vehicles. Was that addressed?
So we talked about that with our fire personnel and looked at the dimensions of this detail. That's something we have to decide, well, do we need them to rise something now, or is that something we can deal with at construction phase? So they will need 2 lanes to receive traffic at this driveway. There's currently a median design, so we looked at the dimensions and determined that, yeah, there is the ability. We believe the ability to make that happen, so we're comfortable moving forward. Now, again, if the applicant, I don't believe we had an in-depth conversation about that, so if there's concern, I'd ask him to point that out tonight where that if that might be an issue, so that we can, if need be, come back to you and show you a more refined detail. But in our opinion, yeah, that could be handled as a condition without significantly changing the site design.
Great. My second question was actually in terms of the A, B, C, and D. Is there a reason why the tentative map was after the Arc and Site Review? Usually it's...
It kind of follows the order in that the priority approval is the zoning. The design, since it implements the zoning in this case, Arc and Site comes next because it's under the PUD ordinance, you need to have a plan development permit, a plan development plan. So you get the zoning and then you adopt the plan. We do that through the architectural and site review. So when you approve the architectural and site review, you are approving the zoning and design standards for that site. So it's got a little bit more of a heightened value and status. If he chooses not to do a tentative map, it doesn't change the project approvals. So the tentative map we view as it's more of an option. It's not required.
That makes sense. That's all I have.
I have one more question. At any point moving forward, will this come back to us for approval?
No, it would not.
I mean,
unless they make a
different
change.
pieces of it as they
So
finalize.
For this phase of the development, no, not unless there's something you wanted to see as a condition. It's not normally done that way, but in some instances, yeah, I've worked with commissions where we brought a detail back or a paint color. But in this case, no, the expectation is he's proposing to build the buildings as shown, so we wouldn't need to come back unless he changes the building details enough that we need to come back and revisit it with the commission.
But for example, as my fellow commissioner just brought up in terms of the recommendation by Hexagon, how do we know? Is that just during the permit process with you guys internally as staff, or how do we know that those issues have been addressed?
So right now it would be, as proposed, it would be staff would work that out with the applicant. What would happen is if it substantially changed the project, we'd have to make a decision if we need to come back. However, having said that, that's one way it would go, and that's the way we're kind of proposing, is we think it can be worked out at staff level with the final plans. There's often tweaks and changes that need to be done.
Okay.
We think it falls in that category. However, if it's something you want to see or you want more information for tonight, I would ask our technical expert and the applicant to speak to it and see if they can reassure you that it can be accomplished or not. And then if you're not satisfied and the group wants it to come back, we can bring it back to you before you take final action.
I'm assuming, though, that the safety issues that have been brought up will for sure be addressed
Yes.
before final approval from staff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I needed to know. Okay.
Anything else? All right, final comment. I think it's a great project. Best of luck. Moving on to opening the public hearing. Do we have any public speakers?
There are no speakers.
The applicant?
Would the applicant like to speak?
So, yeah, there's an opportunity if the applicant wants to address anything he's heard, or if you'd like to wait until all the testimony is completed, that's yeah.
Come on.
Thank you very much for the Planning Commission. I hope you can hear me. We would like to bring our good product for the city of Gilroy. We are looking forward to that. We have been a developer for the hotels in Marriott's, Holiday Inn, and Hilton brands. We are doing a 2 projects in Bay Area, in Mountain View, and also in San Jose. And we are also like to bring the project here in Gilroy, and we are looking forward for your help and opportunity to serve the city of Gilroy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, if that's all for public hearing, I'm going to close the public hearing. Commissioners, any ex parte communications? No?
No?
There are none. All right, the floor is open for discussion.
I would just like to make an amendment to, and I don't know how to do that when we make the motion, to include a functional park rather than an art structure. How do I do that? Or functional art. Functional art instead of static art.
Through the chair, if I may, there's 2 ways to do that. It can either be made through the motion, and it either passes or fails, or it can be requested to be discussed amongst you to see if that's supported. And I recommend the former.
I don't want to make a motion with an amendment and then have that fail and then we're like done.
Yeah.
So that was my concern.
And it would be contained in condition 11, the public art PUD amenity. So you would be revising that condition if you got consensus, if you got a majority that wanted to do that.
My only concern with a functional art piece in today's day and age is the liability if somebody were to get hurt.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's the only thing I think of it.
No, it could still be considered, though.
Of course.
Yes. Fair.
All right. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, I think this is a great project because I think having the hotels there, too, are going to increase some of the traffic to the eateries in the adjacent businesses over there. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to make a motion for A, I'm going to consider and recommend that the City Council adopt the mitigated negative declaration prepared for the project based on findings required by California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA.
Yeah, that is, that's the resolution contained in your packet.
Correct.
Yeah.
I second it.
Roll call vote, please.
I just want to confirm Commissioner Ellie second. Yes. Roll call vote. Commissioner Ellie,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Montez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kushner,
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. All right, that passes 6-0.
Is this the next one?
Yeah.
Resolution again.
Okay, I move that we adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council approve the PUD zoning amendment Z22-01 for Gilroy Crossing Phase 2 as requested.
I second.
What about the PUD amenity,
That's in the next resolution.
Yeah.
That would be for the Arkan site.
Yeah, that's Arkansas.
that's in the, oh, yeah, I thought,
We just
oh, you just did the zoning, okay, I just wanted to make sure it gets in there somewhere.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ellie,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Montez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kushner,
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. Passes 6-0.
You want me to do?
Well, I was waiting on Commissioner Ellie if you would have. No, you voted, but if you wanted to propose.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll do, I move that we adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council approve the architectural and site review AS21-13 for the planned unit development, subject to certain findings and conditions.
I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Ellie,
Sorry, yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Montez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kushner,
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. Passes 6-0.
I'll take the next one. I move that we adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council approve the tentative map TM 21-02, subject to certain findings and conditions.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ellie,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Montez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kushner,
Yes.
Chair Bondal.
Yes. And that passes 6-0. Congratulations. All right. Moving on to item 8, informational items. Planning Division Staff Report. Staff approvals.
Would you like me just to at least let the public know that 7 point?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Item 7.1? Yes. So just letting all the public members know that Public Works staff has requested the 7.1, item 7.1, the CIP, Capital Improvement Program, be continued to a future date. And then during the staff report, and I'll kind of let you guys know the tentative date and poll the commissioners.
And will that be amended? If we read through it now, is it going to stay the same? I'm not quite sure why.
Correct.
Are they going to change it? Is that why they've asked for it?
No, I believe it's to to provide more time for everybody to review the packet, and also some of the concerns they have received. They just want to make sure they can consider that. Based on my last conversation, this is last night with the Public Works Director, I believe there won't be any changes, and if there's any, it could be very minimal, and they'll provide just a one-pager to summarize the changes. Yeah.
Is it possible that we could have a redlined copy to identify where those changes are? Because when we got the housing element, there were a lot of changes in there that we didn't really have enough time to review that document. I'm still finding changes that I wasn't aware of. because it wasn't redlined. Is it possible?
Yeah, I can
Thank you.
definitely ask. But I know I already asked about,
Thank
if
you.
there are minor changes, if they can summarize it. So I can ask about the red line as well.
Thank you very
as well
much.
as a one-page summary. Yes. And in the meantime, please feel free to send any questions to the Public Works Director and the engineer that I have mentioned in my mail last night. Yes, please do.
Can I, just a couple of things? As I'm reading through, the 1,600 pages, is there any way that, the attachments, like at the beginning, you can say, this attachment can be found on page X, this attachment page X. It was very difficult for me to kind of go back and think, I know I read it, and it's just.
We've all experiencing that, and it's the new agenda management system that kind of went live in January. So the city clerk's office is aware of that challenge that staff has been experiencing as well. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And right now it's a document dump. So before it would be, item 7.1, A, B, C, D, and then you could go to your PDF and it was chapterized out, item 7.1, A, B, C, D. Now it's just like, there's your agenda, there's all the documents.
But a lot of times you can hit it so you, like staff report or something.
Oh, I would love it to be hyperlinked, but
Yes,
that would be great.
Having to go through everything.
Yeah, and I believe the older system had that.
Yes.
So, there's pros and cons with technology. Yeah, so the city clerk's office is aware of that.
And are they trying to fix that, or
Yeah,
are they just aware?
no, I mean, we've been discussing it with them, but they have to look at, this change for the entire system, yes.
But Jen,
I imagine other commissions and council are all facing the same thing.
yeah.
Okay. One other thing, something was brought to my attention, and, I'm doing my very best to read through all these documents. A lot of it I glaze over because I just don't understand, the bio and all these different things. But it was brought to my attention that in the housing element that we sent to council for approval had something in there, and I believe it had to do with zoning, that said that this would stop, if the planning commission approved it, it would not need to go further to council for approval. And I believe that council made that change, that they caught that. I don't know about my other colleagues here, but I missed that. And I would like, if possible, I don't know if it's possible, but if something like that is in the packet, can it be brought to our attention so that we're aware? I just feel that if it's something that we are the final approvers of, that we should be aware of it, or, in that way we say, okay, that's fine with us, or, no, we don't want that responsibility. Let's shoot it up to the council or whatever. But I just think that I would prefer, if possible, that is highlighted or brought to our attention so that we don't miss it. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but I certainly did not see that.
Yeah, and I think you're referring to as staff brings project forward to you, right? Letting you know the entire process for the project, whether after the planning commission it's going to council. If I'm understanding your question.
I think there was a piece of it in the housing element.
Yes, there is. Yeah, it was about streamlining. And
Okay, maybe I was, maybe it was just me that missed it.
I missed it too. Then when I saw council bring it up.
Yeah, so I just think that's kind of important that we know that, hey, the buck is going to stop here with us rather than because, for the most part, we're just advising council and they're the final, they're elected by the community to make that final decision, not us. And so if it is going to stop with us, I just would like for that, hey guys, make sure you fully understand that this is going to stop here.
Yeah, and in fact, I think, when we bring forward the zoning code update, that's where you'll see a lot of that. And feel free to jump in, Jolie. I know you were.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't on the agenda if we're
Yeah, I
getting
know.
into a topic, but I was going to say we will be bringing all the updated zoning because we've done the general plan, and now to have the zoning comply with the general plan, you'll see the changes in the changes to reviewing bodies and where things stop, and that's all being changed. So, but you'll see it in the late summer or fall. Correct.
But did the council change that when they approved the housing element, that it does not stop with the planning commission, that it does go up to them?
Yeah, they changed that.
They did, yeah. But it was, kind of in the general sense because, staff are trying to kind of streamline the processes, just like a lot of state laws have been asking cities to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But in the zoning code, when you see that, it's much more specific.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks. Planning Division staff approvals.
We did that, right? Yeah.
Okay, did we? All right. The Planning Division report, anything?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, my apologies. For some reason, never mind.
Yes, so kind of circling back to just, what I was talking about, the date we're looking at for the CIP is May 25th. That's a Thursday,
So a special meeting?
a special meeting. So wanted to make you aware of that. Yeah, that's 3 weeks from today.
Okay, I think we need to vote on that. Any special meetings we need to vote on?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in our guide.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's I'll find it.
Speaking of meeting dates, is it possible for us to move the July 6th meeting to the week after?
Oh,
Is that
because of
it's a
holiday
holiday
week?
week? Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
and
imagine
actually-
a lot of people are going to be out.
My guess will probably be canceled and then,
Yeah, actually, I'm pulling up the rules and regulations, the
Sure.
bylaws the Commissioner Elliott is referring to. I know I've seen something about that here too. Okay, so additional meeting, well, first, number one was talking about the first Thursday at 6 p.m. That's the regular meeting. And then number two says, additional meetings may be held at any time upon the call of the chair or by a majority of the voting members of the commission or upon written request of the city council following at least 24 hours notice to each member of the commission. So, yeah, feel free here.
So aren't our special meetings on the third Thursday?
Yes, correct.
So
Yeah,
that
but
would
there's
be
some
the 18th?
But there are some logistic reasons that,
Oh, I won't be here, just to let you know.
Well, yeah, I planned my vacation around that third meeting.
Yeah. Oh,
well, then we should vote then. And
Is
then,
there a reason we can't do that on the June meeting?
We're getting too close to budget.
yeah, because
So-
of a timeline. of
I mean, that's
approval.
just 1 week before our regularly scheduled meeting.
Yeah, I understand. But, I was given some dates where this meeting, in between that this meeting can occur and, in checking the.
So we have
and the-
for sure 2 commissioners that won't be in attendance. I don't.
So I say we vote then. And instead of wasting everyone's time setting it and then
Yeah.
people not be able to make it.
God, I don't have my calendar with me.
they can't push it up a week?
We do it on a regular Thursday. I'm open.
No, I was given some time, yeah,
Okay.
some dates.
So what happens if we vote no? Then
It gets pushed to the next meeting.
it gets pushed to the next meeting?
I don't know, I mean, this has not occurred, here before, so.
Yeah, I've never had this vote before myself.
Is everybody else going to be here?
I am iffy because I'm going on vacation the next day, so.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, so.
Well, let's vote. Let's vote.
Another
So-
first for the planning commission.
Yeah, all right. So the vote is to hold or to cancel the special meeting of May 25th, 2023.
You should probably make them, because the chair can make a motion and then a majority. That's kind of how it follows with the Brown Act is the chair can call a special meeting or a majority of the body can call a special meeting. So do you want to,
I'll make a motion to hold it, and then
yes,
the
make a
majority
motion
can.
to hold it on the 25th?
Got it. And then everybody votes.
Okay, so wait, what's the motion?
I'm going to make the motion.
Okay.
Yes, Chair, making motion that we hold the special meeting on May 25th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Roll call.
Roll call vote, please.
Does it need to be seconded?
Commissioner Ellie,
Was there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
roll call vote. Commissioner Ellie,
No.
Commissioner Lewis,
No.
Commissioner Montes,
No.
Commissioner Ramirez,
No.
Vice Chair Kushner,
No.
Chair Bondal.
No. All right, that fails 0-6. So there will be no meeting on May 25th, 2023. All right, Sharon, anything else?
Yes, I do. So I actually left a copy on each of your desks. And I have flyers outside in the lobby too. So we actually been organizing a series of events. So there are 9 events in the month of May to celebrate Affordable Housing and Building Safety Month. So you see the QR code there, which will take you to the website, and that's the link up there that says Gilroy.city/housing. And when you go to that website, there'll be specific flyer, for each event and specific details for each event. So please help us spread the word. Yeah. Thank you.
I want to make a comment on the last housing event that was done by staff. It was excellent. I participated, and it was so informative. So I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 10, Assistant City Attorney's Report.
No report, or I can say that more cities are getting sued by the Attorney General for not having housing elements that are compliant. So, and then Elk Grove was the last one. Yes, so
That was just Monday.
that was just Monday. So the AG is being very, very active.
Thank you. And with that, I am going to adjourn to the next regular held meeting of June 1st, 2023 at 6 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.